Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you are doing well. My name is Agyei, and I am the CEO and founder of the Inside Job Academy. And I'm super excited to actually be launching the first segment of it. It's an inside job with Agyei, an incredible special guest from around the world. Today we have an incredible guest with us today. Really looking forward to diving into today's conversation. Really here to inspire individuals from around the world. Whether you are looking to, start a business, or whether you're in business looking to scale it, you do not want to miss today's conversation. So please, if you are live here on Instagram, please share this live because it's going to be an absolutely incredible conversation. I'm going to bring up this young individual right now so we can get the show on the road.
Good evening, Michael. How are you doing?
Good evening, Yaw. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Not too bad. I can't
Good.
complain at all.
I hear you, man. It's great to have you on this live. We have so much to get through. So we're gonna get straight into it. Ladies and gentlemen, who we have here is a serial entrepreneur, who has had failed business ventures under his belt. An absolute brilliant mind with lots of great ideas. None of them really took off until his current business venture, which is valued in the 8-figure mark. Today, we talk to Okyere, founder of Estelle, as we dive into the fear of failure in business and how you overcome it and into Yao's story. So Yao, having known you for many years, has been absolutely inspirational to see the journey of where it started to where it is now. Now, where I want us to start is, when did you start your entrepreneurial journey? So where did it all begin? And I want you to start from that position.
No, of course. Thank you for having me on here as well. It's an absolute pleasure. And Michael, I mean, likewise. Pretty much almost grew up with you, so it's always been
Yeah.
an inspiration, obviously, watching your journey as well. But diving straight in, I'll say my personal journey. I don't say I was. I mean, I don't know whether I was born an entrepreneur or not, but I really discovered it when I was around about 16, right?
Mm.
So what happened at that age was, so that was the time where I was sort of like trying to think about what do I want to do in my career moving forward. And now when I look back, I can understand that it had to be to do something around solving problems and helping people, right? So
Mm.
I went from wanting to be an engineer to wanting to be a pilot to fixing airplanes to wanting to be a doctor. Actually, on my route to being a doctor, doing maths and sciences. And then one day, I can't remember the exact reason why, but it's actually someone that that we know quite well, actually, was Enoch.
Mm.
Enoch Duffel. And he invited me to his house, and I was with Ben actually, and he was like, "Guys, like, I've got these hair straighteners I want you to sell, right? Go away and draw a business plan and come and tell me how you're gonna do it, etc." And this was 16 years old. I was 16. I remember this very vividly. So I went back to his house. Anyway, put something together. I showed him, and what had happened was that so he would sell it to us for about £40, and then I figured out we could literally just put it on Amazon and eBay for about £100, £120, and I couldn't fathom why people were buying this
Mm.
£100. So that's really where I got hooked. And then from that, sort of like research and looking into it, what is this world? Because I knew everything about wanting to go down like a particular career route, but I never really had anyone that was in business around me. So naturally, my mind didn't even go towards business until this particular experience. And then since
Mm.
then, literally, it's almost like I went down like a rabbit hole. So I'll say that's really when it started when I was 16, and I think from since that point I never really looked back. Imagine being 16 and being able to make like an extra £1,000 a month just from just basically just selling stuff on eBay and Amazon. So essentially that's where my journey started from, and then yeah, here we are today.
Wow. So you're saying to me, so at 16,
Yeah,
you're given this opportunity and this task, you
yeah,
know, what even made you be interested in doing that? Many 16-year-olds, when given such a task,
yeah.
would just simply say, this ain't for me, man. I didn't come here to listen to no business proposition. So what were your initial thoughts? What actually made you interested to even take on the challenge?
I think for me, I've also always been studious. I mean, there was the opportunity to make a little bit of money on the side at 16 years old, so that's always exciting. But even the fact that, I went away to sort of like look into it, how can we do this? And I think it probably obviously a little bit also stems from my mom in a way. When I look back and when I really sit down to think about it, I think maybe at that stage I probably didn't really notice or realize it, but now looking back, it all sort of makes sense, right? Um,
Mm,
because if I remember, I think my mom moved here when I was about 12, and then like maybe like a year later, she came back to get me and my brother. I think I was about 13, 14 at the time, and I remember this so well. It's like literally when we came here, she was literally like in one room, so she used to rent a room out of someone's house, right? So
mm,
literally me, my brother, the one just right behind me, and my mom all sharing one room at a time. Right. So I literally
mm,
saw her just like go to work so hard, and within like 4 years of that, literally start buying a house and then like the following year buying another one, right? So literally been through all that process of her, and then
mm,
for context, my mom at the time she was a nurse, and then she decided it
mm,
was on top of that to go to school, on top of that to train to be a midwife, all through that journey, right? So I saw her literally just like going to work, doing a 12-hour shift, then going to uni, coming back, sometimes doing like two 12-hour shifts back to back, 24 hours straight, no rest, non-stop, just to be able to give us a
mm.
better life. So really sort of
Wow.
like been through that, seeing that hard work. And I believe sort of like a little bit of that sort of like thought it out through to me. I'm thinking, do you know what? If she can do
Yeah.
this, right, go
Yeah.
from just literally renting a one room in someone's house to buying a
Yes.
four-bedroom house 4 years later, then boy, literally I have no
Mm,
excuse. Right. So literally just like I was around that, saw that grow up, I'm growing up. So for me, it's almost like hard work wasn't really necessarily, anything that, I was fearful of. It was almost
mm,
the prerequisite. Like we had worked hard all the way through. Necessarily, we didn't necessarily go through the primary school system in the UK, so everything was like you need to learn how everything works. Get good grades, just like work hard and
mm.
do that. Every opportunity that you got, and for me, that was one of the opportunities when I figured out, oh, we can make money from this. I thought, why not? Let's just throw everything into it. Um, so yeah, I mean, like, I won't even say it was myself, just probably my surroundings, my upbringing, was partly to do with it as well.
No, I hear that. So would you say from then on,
Yeah.
did it cement, the idea of being an entrepreneur? So you were
Oh,
like, all right,
100%.
I will go down a particular educational route, but did that say, you know what, wherever I go down, I'm going to be an entrepreneur?
100%. So at a time as well, I was then sort of like looking into this whole like, what is this like, in terms of the world. To be honest, I didn't even know what the word entrepreneurship is. I knew there were businessmen, people who did business, etc. But I didn't really have many
Mm,
examples around me. So business never really sort of like came into my mind until obviously that experience. Then when I started, researching online, looking into it, at the time was mainly like tech heavy in terms of tech entrepreneurship. Seeing like, I don't know, 21-year-olds with like billion-dollar company valuations, like, whoa, what? Yeah, I'm definitely
mm,
doing that. Like I was saying, I was actually like on the path to go and study medicine. Even all my friends that I convinced to go and be doctors with me, they're all doctors now, right? But literally, like last minute, last minute, I pulled. I was like, nah, I don't think this is gonna be for me. Although my mom was very upset, or was it, no, not so much. By the
yeah.
time it was like, like, are you sure, etc. But just doing research, just learning more about the industry, seeing the amazing things like young people like that were doing that were not too greatly older than me, thinking like 25-year-olds with like
Mm,
£100 million companies. I thought, do you know what? I think I want to help people, but maybe I'm also like a problem solver as well. So that just appealed to
mm,
me so much, and like I literally just developed like a crazy passion for it. Which you will see that throughout my journey, that's literally all I literally focused on. Literally just ignored everything else. I thought, you know what, this is what I want to do. I'm just going to give it everything. Through many failures, many trials, starting again over and over again until we finally got there.
No, that's interesting. And let's dive into that a little bit in terms of the journey it has taken.
Yeah.
You know, because looking at your journey, there has been many industries, you know, that you've been in. Your entrepreneurship journey has seen many
No,
industries, but
100%.
also many business attempts.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Many people would have given up.
Yeah.
But my question to you is, you know, what was it that kept the fire burning? Talk us through, you know, some of the industries that you did go through.
Hmm.
But more importantly, what kind of kept the fire burning for you not to give up?
Um, I think for me, I was like, I decided to go down this route, and I saw no other option. It was a true passion of mine. This is like an industry where if you really want to excel in, one is never going to be easy. I highly doubt anything's going to work straight out of the box
Mm,
anyway. So if it's not something that you're really, it's almost like unhealthily passionate and crazy about, right? I personally even wouldn't even recommend it anyway, right?
mm,
Yeah, you have to be that person that you think, you know what, this is literally all I have to do, and you need to be related to base to the point where you're like, okay, cool, I'm gonna risk everything. This is for me, whether it works or not. I don't necessarily care about. Okay, like everyone goes into entrepreneurship unless like you're running a charity. You go into entrepreneurship to make money, but at the
yeah.
same time as well, there's an element of passion to it, and
I
without
think your voice, your speaker has gone a
um,
bit down. Yeah,
yeah,
perfect.
so
Yeah.
like there's an element of passion to it, and without that passion, it's gonna be so difficult for you. And I think fortunately, I had that. So fast forward, obviously, at 16, going through A levels, etc., doing this. At some point, I kind of had to like slow it down a little bit to be able to get my A levels because obviously uni was.
Mm,
I wasn't gonna live in an African household and not go to uni, so that was never an option. Um, but so I had to make sure that I got my A levels to be able to go to a good uni. Fortunately, I got into Warwick University. And when I got there, literally, I just had this burning desire to be able to do something anyway. So when I got there, I literally
mm,
just went around just like, what problems are here that I can solve? Um,
mm.
literally, like within the first term, I noticed that I'm not sure if anyone knows like the Warwick campus. Essentially, it's like a campus university, which means that it's in the middle of nowhere. We've got all the facilities in one place, which meant that for me, one of the issues which meant that no one really didn't have to leave. You got everything in one place.
Mm.
Truly, if you didn't leave, you probably didn't even know what's going on in the world because all the facilities are there, everything. So it meant that we only had about 5 places to eat on campus.
Mm.
And the closest city was Coventry City Centre, which was literally about a half an hour bus drive from Warwick campus to Coventry. And you know, students are lazy. No one wants to get on a bus to go to
Yeah.
Coventry to grab food unless, I don't know, they're taking, some girl on the date or something like that, right? I thought, do you know what? No, I've got a car in London. I mean, I made some money, so I had like £1,000 car that I bought that was set back home in London. I thought, let me go and bring my car and maybe set up a delivery system for the likes of Nando's and Wagamama's because at the time there was no delivery, there was no such thing as delivery, Uber Eats, and all the rest of it. At the time, there was Just Eat, and for those that remember, and I'm not sure if anyone still orders from Just Eat. By the time, the only delivery option you had was Just Eat and Domino's, right? And Just
Mm.
Eat was all about sort of like your greasy Chinese takeaways, etc. There was nothing like Nando's and all of that stuff for delivery. So I thought, you know what? A lot of students like that, but they can't get it for delivery. So let's set up a delivery system for that, right? For all
Wow.
the restaurants that don't deliver. So in a way, I like to say like, as a joke, I probably started delivery before delivery became delivery, but I just didn't have
Listen,
I didn't have the heart to go and raise £100 million to make it work out. um, so yeah, we literally just got that going. And I asked a friend who was studying computer science to create a website for me. He was going to charge me £3,000. I made, you must be like, you must be smoking something. So it literally just took about 2 months, learned how to code, did my own website because I was like, I'm going to do this come rain or shine. So literally just learned how to code, did my own website. I went to the restaurants. I spoke to the restaurant managers and I thought, you know what, this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring you loads of orders from Warwick campus, etc. The students want this. Are you down for it? They were like, yeah, of course, 100%. So essentially all we did is we took the menus from the restaurant and basically just replicated that on the website, just put every single item on the menu on the website and in all the various different combinations, which literally was a nightmare, but we managed to get it working anyway. But what we would do is we would charge £5 per delivery on top of your order. But the operational thing we did on the back end that really worked and made this business sort of like semi-successful was the fact that we weren't doing delivery per order. So we will batch all the deliveries together. So for example,
Mm.
because we're in the campus uni, like we can say, okay, cool. Like, so we set up a fixed delivery time and a fixed location. So we can just be like, we have like 4 locations for pickup. So one for like, I don't know, go to the uni library or this resident accommodation, whatever. And if you want your food at 8 p.m., you have to order by 7 p.m. Right?
Mad.
So we can get like 50 orders all in one go, but have to only make one trip. And then we will just only
Mm.
bring it to one location and people will come and pick it up from that location. So we don't have to worry about having to deliver everyone's food to them individually. And then like, I think we really just really launched it, I think the final term or term 2. And essentially all I did was we printed about 10,000 flyers and literally just like the first few days of uni, the following term, we walked around everyone's dorm and just literally put flyers. I remember this so vividly. Put a flyer and leave their door and just be like, Nando's delivered to campus, literally. Go on this website. And then
Wow.
since that day, it literally just went crazy. So that kind of did well a little bit. That was like sort of like my first like mini success in terms of going into business. And I absolutely loved it. That meant that I actually almost failed my first year of uni because that's literally all I spent my time doing. And I studied engineering really, but luckily for me, my first year didn't count towards my degree. So I think the pass mark was like 40% or something like that, and I got like 42, literally just like scraped by. They're just trying to set us up and do it. But yeah, I think like on a good weekend, we had about 200 orders, maybe like going through Nando's alone. So coming to the year of that.
Wait. Let's before you speed on. So you're saying to me, bro, that you went to Warwick,
Yeah,
you saw a problem that needed a solution,
yeah, 100%.
and the solution was you came up with Deliveroo before Deliveroo.
Yeah, so actually the year we launched, I think Delivery was like maybe 2010 or something like that. Like now looking back at it, like
Mhm.
when you look at the dates, we actually launched. The Delivery wasn't even in existence really. But
It didn't
for me,
even
I wasn't even
exist.
thinking about that. I was just thinking like this is a problem we need to solve really because student want X, they can't get it. How do we get it to them? Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
And no, it's just crazy, bro, that even the fact that you said that someone has said, you know what, I'm gonna charge you £3,000 for a website.
yeah,
And you said, you know what, I'm going to learn it myself.
100%.
You
Literally.
know, it shows, the hunger and desire that you have. Because
Yeah.
many people can give an excuse. They could have
Mhm.
said at that point in time that, you know what, I have this idea, but I don't have the money
To
to
do
be
it.
able to do it.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
said, you know what, I don't have it. I'm a student. So I'm going to learn it. I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
That's incredible, bro.
And bro, like that was also part of entrepreneurship. And like in this day and age, I see not to say people make excuses, but really and truly, if you really, really want anything that bad, you'll find a way to basically either make it.
Mm.
But yeah, like I was a student, I don't have 3 grand to pay you to make a website. What I had was a little bit of time, right? So literally just like spending my time, order free. There's so much free resources online as well that if you really, really want to do it, you can tap into it and get it done,
Mm.
right? So there's just me never really coded before, and now that was part of the skills that probably like paid me later on in life as well. When I was sort of like trying to
Mm.
get different areas and trying to figure out what to do, right? So like that skill set I learned, throughout my desperation to try and get something to work, actually it became something that I even used to work with. So I think now if you really want anything that bad, a lot of times we probably make excuses, and like no one's gonna give you a handout. Nothing's gonna be easy. Nothing's gonna be free, right? Once you
Mm.
have that mindset and you're thinking, you know what, I'll find a way to do it. Like if you have that desire to do it, you will find
Yeah.
it.
Mm. So how much did you make from that business?
Right, I think that the first year I probably made about 20 grand profit. Right, this is me and you, just like yeah, we made
20
it.
grand in your
Yeah,
first year.
in the first
While
year.
many people are using their student loan to
Yeah,
upgrade their closets so that they can look good in the raves, so that they could just, say, this is the first time I've got a huge amount of money. Let me
yeah.
buy that car. You're saying to me that in your first year of uni, you actually made 20K.
Yeah, literally. But then I was looking at all these like all my tech buddies and tech friends. I'm like, these guys are raising like millions of pounds, like in fundraising for the startups. What I'm doing is probably just like, just getting started, right? And sometimes it's all like it's around the environment that you place yourself in. Because I remember, like, we had this work entrepreneur society, and there was this guy. He was probably like a couple of years ahead of us, anyway. And then he had gone to Silicon Valley to raise about, I don't know, like $3 million for his startup. So I'm here like, okay, cool, 20 grand. Yeah, that's nice, but you know, like we need to keep going, right? Because my peers
Mm.
are doing millions. You know, like people
So
ask
that
like
was
20 grand, was it profit or revenue? But that was profit. Like revenue was much higher. Anyway,
mm. So you're saying to me it was like you're now saying obviously your environment
yeah,
was causing you to always think big because to
100%.
someone 20K was like that's incredible. But
Yeah.
you're saying that the people that you surrounded yourself with was doing so much more and that kind of kept you thinking I can do bigger.
Oh, no, 100%, bro. Like 100%. Because like why people I know that are the same uni as me, like what have they done differently that has made them be able to raise £3 million in I don't know, in funding? You know, like surely I can probably do something similar, right? So there's me thinking, okay, cool, yeah, that's great, but we can do more. So that was my mindset
Mm,
at the time around it. But anyway, I mean, even that startup, so the story around the way it ended was because it just happened that literally 80% of all our orders were going through Nando's because that's just what student preferred for whatever reason. It meant that, I don't know if like for most of us have probably been to Nando's. So when you're in Nando's, when you look at their kitchen, they don't actually have a kitchen. They have like a grill at the back of the restaurant, which meant that because you're in like a fixed location, you couldn't really expand. So what would happen is every time we put in an order, we put in like a bulk order of like maybe 20 or 30 at a time. So that will feed through into the restaurant system, which meant that everyone that walks in after our order has just been put through will literally be waiting for about 45 minutes. Right.
mm.
So that literally, especially on weekends, it was crazy. So that meant that there was a lot of complaints from the Coventry restaurant going back to head office. So we literally got banned.
Wow.
So yeah, we literally got banned. We couldn't do Nando's anymore. They were like, listen, too many negative reviews, too many complaints, wait times are through the roof. Like, we can't do this anymore. I thought, well, okay, cool, fine. We tried to do Leamington Spa, but that was a bit further out, and head office got the wind that we're doing it, so they were like, no. I was like, okay, cool. Do you know what? Maybe it's time for me to focus on my degree anyway. So yeah,
Mm.
that's essentially what happened around that. Yeah,
Wow.
and yeah, decided to spend the last 2 years of my of uni just like learning different skills, learning how to program, becoming good at it, and trying to get a 2-1 so I can give my nice certificate to my mom.
So, bro, I can remember, you going through different industries,
Yeah.
whether it's in the fitness bar. I remember you
Yeah,
bringing
yeah, yeah.
fitness
I'll
bar.
come to that. So that was post uni, actually. Yeah,
Yeah. Then I saw you in doing Uggs, selling Uggs. I remember that. Then I
yeah,
saw
yeah,
you ventured into Forex. Like you ventured into a lot of different businesses because I can
yeah.
tell that from young, the entrepreneurship. You know, none of them, I don't know, did any of them ever take off like the delivering service at university?
No, so nothing really ever took off. So the Uggs was actually part of the hair straighteners as well. So like we used to get
Okay.
Ugg, so we used to get the Ugg boots and the hair straighteners from Enoch around 16, 17 at the time. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but the hair straighteners used to shift a lot more than the Ugg boots anyway. But nothing really took off like the delivery service. But obviously, then following on from that post uni, I had a mentor that basically, I mean, throughout all of this as well, right? I was like, because
Mm,
I learned stuff to do with IT, so I managed to literally just get like a side gig that I knew an entrepreneur who basically her business was in care homes, right? So she
yeah.
was like a mentor to me, but then I'll literally maybe like spend like every like twice a month or something like that, go around her care home, sort out her IT stuff for her. So she used to pay me to do that, but it was also like a mentor to me. So obviously she was aware of all the stuff that I was doing anyway. So after uni,
Mm,
it was like, okay, cool, yeah, I know this is what you're passionate about. I want to go into business with you. Let's do something because like I'm in care homes, like that pays me, that gives me my money. I want to try something else. I want to try something product related, right? Plus, I've done the whole food delivery stuff. So really and truly, my initial idea was to try and go into tech because that was all I was surrounded by. Like everyone around me was talking
mm,
about tech startups, etc., etc. So yeah, literally, she was like, "Okay, cool. Like you've done." So at the time, I done tech and food because of the delivery stuff. Like, okay, cool. You might know a little bit about food. Come, let's start this like protein bar business. And at the time, like sort of like clean protein bars were very popular at the time. So she literally just like we registered a company and she funded it with about 200K, whatever. So it's like, okay, cool, like just go and start it. This is the idea. Let's make something out of that. That didn't go. I mean, that business is still going today. They're doing amazing well. But initially at the start, it didn't go too well between me and her, purely because I think that we saw things from different perspectives, right? So I was coming from a background of like, for people that know tech, there's something called like lean startup methodology, which I've sort of like learned coming up. And that just meant that when you're starting a business, you go very lean. Like you try things the very, very scrappy way just to validate that the idea works first before sort of like you pump a lot of money into it. But from her background, what she used to do is she used to buy like rundown care homes that were basically failing, pump a lot of money into it, fix it up, and obviously get it running properly, right? So some of that we're coming from different aspects of understanding business. So that kind of
Yeah.
clashed a little bit. So that meant that I thought, you know what, okay, cool, you guys, do that. I don't kind of like agree or understand the way business should be done in that sense, because it was like, okay, cool, like let's build like a warehouse that can, like a production center that can produce like 5,000 bars a day, etc. I'm like, well, we haven't even tested the bars yet, right? But anyway, they're doing amazing well now. So I transitioned away from that into one of my very good mate now actually. But because I had done that, then I was slowly sort of like becoming an expert in food businesses, because I spent some like probably like almost like a year learning about that. So then I then joined like a new startup actually that was trying to create like a healthier version of Red Bull. So then I went into joined the founder and then literally just like helped him just like build it from the ground up. I was running the whole operations for that, and this was like I was probably like what, just straight out of uni, maybe about 22, 23 at the time, running this idea. We've done the whole formulation, and that's actually what taught me about formulation that I use today in skincare. So going through that journey, we were running like we literally just coming up with all the formulations, trying to create like a healthier version of Red Bull that will give you the same performance, but without any of the nasties that's in there. That's sort of like semi good for you, because his issue was like he struggled from sickle cell, so he always lacked energy. But obviously, can't always drink Red Bull, right? So like, how can we create an alternative for people that want to, get the energy boost without sort of like, soaking their body with sugars and fake caffeines and all that stuff. So through that, I learned a lot about the regulations around, product development, all of that stuff. But then, business there wasn't moving as quick, because when you're in there, so we call it the FMCG. So like, business. If you don't get buyers from like big shops on board with you, then you really, really can't shoot volume, because that business is really like a volume business. Like you need to be in like 1,000 Tesco's to really, really see some serious money. I thought, oh, okay, cool. All right, cool. Like we've made the product's amazing. We can't get any buyers to jump on board. Getting a bit slow. Cash flow is running dry. We can't get investors to put in the money. I thought, okay, cool. What do I do from here? So then I thought, you know what? Let me then go and consult a little bit. So that's when my tech skills then came in. So like the years following that, maybe 2 or 3 years, I was literally just like, like helping businesses create websites, running ads, because throughout these times as well, I was basically just honing like my skills in like IT and web development, and just like knowing how to do marketing, because I've just been learning throughout both of these companies that I've been at, right? How to write. And when I say copies, it's almost like the words that you read when someone's advertising, or something that goes in the can, or that's something that goes in the like on the packaging. Like growing up, I always thought I was terrible at English, right? Well, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I only found out at uni that I was actually dyslexic. That's why I didn't like English. It wasn't because I was didn't like English, because I was terrible at it. I mean, I found out at uni, but then now it's almost like throughout that journey, probably I worked with words a lot more than I worked with math and science anyway, right? So
Yeah.
over time, I became really, really good at that, how to write copy that someone will read, and then that will convert, to get them to understand the message that you're trying to portray across, etc. So I'm going through all these journeys, learning all these different skills, not necessarily really thinking much about it, because it just required me to be able to do it. Which all turned out to be very valuable in what I do today, because today is almost like literally like I'm always writing, I'm always either speaking, writing, trying to convey our passion across the other different people, different stakeholders.
So what we're seeing then is, bro, that every experience that you had, maybe didn't give you the ultimate results that you want,
Yeah,
but each and every experience, was teaching you something that you was
100%,
eventually going to use. Because
100%,
one thing that you kept saying, and I'm hearing in your narrative, is that you just kept improving your skill set.
yeah, 100%,
Like
100%,
throughout the beginning from 16, you're like, how can I continually improve my skill set,
yeah,
to be able to become better? Because
yeah,
one thing that we're seeing when it comes to business is that when you do have a business
hmm,
and you're doing things that may not be building the business, you
hmm,
have to understand that that's actually building you. Whether it's
yes,
a failure, whether it's a small piece of success, but
hmm,
every experience is building you.
yes,
But one thing I want you to home in, bro, is even throughout all these experiences, you could have
hmm,
easily said, all right, I've done all these things. It didn't really take off. Let me
yeah.
now kind of default to my degree and just flow with the status quo. What made you still go on, even though you're not achieving the results that you want to achieve? What was that fire, bro? What was keeping it burning in you?
Bro, I'll say, I mean, like, as cliche as this might sound, I'll say like that was probably never me, right? Obviously, like money is important, like we have to pay our bills. But for me, my goal and my priority is, okay, cool. What do I need to do right now in this stage I'm in to pay my bills and still find a way to like try and figure out like like this business thing? That like literally that was my passion. So like anybody I worked for, I mean, I'm very sorry to my previous employers, but I literally just come in to do what I need to do, but my mind is somewhere else.
Mm,
Literally, I feel like it literally runs so deep in my blood that I was almost very unreasonable to be able to convince to try and like pursue a different career path, right? So
mm,
I'm not too sure like how to pinpoint. It's like, oh, it was this one particular thing that was keeping me or anything like that. Now, like I was saying, it's like it's probably part of my upbringing. Like it's probably part of my DNA. Seeing how hard my mom worked and thinking, you know what, like we're gonna have to make it out of this, right? So very, very stubbornly, like I look at a lot of my mates, right? Like a lot of like the guys I went to uni with, and some of my very, very close friends as well. Like everyone was sort of like going down, and then they've got amazing careers. Like don't get me wrong, but like that was their passion. That's for them, right? So I got friends in like banking and law, and these guys were just like kept progressing, just going up and up and up in their careers on like six-figure salaries, and like I'm here, I was like, okay, cool. Like if I need to make 20K to pay my bills for the year, that's what I'm gonna do. But on the side, between 5 to 12 a.m. or whenever I go to sleep, like I'm figuring out how do I crack this thing, right? So it was literally just,
mm,
like some this like crazy dedication. And like if you speak to my wife, she would like she will tell you. She was I kept hearing it like, don't you think it's time for us to like figure out something and maybe let's like find a little bit more stable job? I'm like, listen, like you knew me before you got me. But I'll make sure the bills are paid. Don't worry about that. But aside from that, it
mm,
was literally just hunger, crazy dedication to be able to figure out, okay, cool, like this is what I've dedicated my life to. I don't care when it happens. I know at some point it was only a matter of time. And like I was saying as well, like obviously when you're going through that, it can be difficult. But
mm,
sometimes it helps to know from someone that's been through it is that is literally a development of yourself as well. And sometimes in business, the one thing you won't be able to appreciate when you're going through it is the element of timing. Like the market
mm,
and your idea and the timing literally needs to align for you then to be able to then apply your skill set for things to be able to take hold for you. You can do
mm,
every single thing right. If it's the wrong business at the wrong market time at the wrong time, I'm sorry, but nothing's going to shoot off because it's just the market conditions are just not there for that. Right.
mm,
So you can do everything. You can be very, very frustrated. But I think, like I was saying, like at the beginning, like the number one ingredient to really want to do this thing, like if you're not so crazily passionate about this thing called business, then I'm sorry, but at some point it will almost break you. Right. So you need to really like
wow.
understand yourself. Like, okay, cool. Like businesses and like business is also not the only career out there. Like, and sometimes like it's been glamorized in this day and age online, everyone thinking needs to be an entrepreneur. Not necessarily at all. I've got very, very good mates who are doing amazingly well in their career who are probably going to earn millions, by the time they're done with it, right?
Mm,
But for me, this was my thing. And I thought, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about. I'm dedicating my whole life, my whole soul to it. Yeah, I'll find ways to pay my bills, but, I want to go down this route.
I hear you. And I think that's kind of sound advice because many people, I think social media has really glamorized entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
When you see entrepreneurship, you have all the time in the world. You have the Lamborghinis and the holidays, but that's just, the glamorization of entrepreneurship.
yeah,
So, bro, when it came to now, we're now at, Ava Estelle.
yeah, yeah.
When did you know that this was it? When did you know that, this is it? Was it when the results came, or was there something that you saw that happened before that made you be aware of it?
Right. So before the business started, there was nothing different to like how I would approach starting any of my previous trials and like any of my previous businesses. But 2 weeks in, I knew, okay, cool. Maybe there's something different about this, right? Which I'll probably come to. So the whole idea around Ava started from actually when I was working with the drinks company, right? So that's when I
Mm,
literally just met my wife during that time. And during that time, because I've been a just business person, I always had like a sheet of like 100 different ideas anyway. So this actually became one of the ideas on the list that never really pursued until 4 years later, actually. So when I
mm,
met her, it was like, I always tell this story for people not know about the brand, probably knows this story already anyway. So when I met her was she used to struggle a lot with like hyperpigmentation and stuff like that, right? And then I noticed that she always opted for like long sleeves blouses, or anytime we go out to eat, maybe like she won't take off her jacket, etc. Just me, just being inquisitive, like, oh, like what's wrong, etc. Trying to understand sort of like the reason behind that. And I got to realize that it was because she felt a little bit uncomfortable with the marks on her arm, etc. That's why she didn't want to do it. And sometimes a few people will say a few words of encouragement is all you need, but sometimes well, that's not necessarily enough, right? Depending on the person.
mm,
So me being me, obviously learning about formulation, extra, I thought, you know what, I can actually create you something natural that you can basically use that will help you, because her argument was she didn't want to use anything that was currently on the market because it was chemical based
mm.
and stuff that
Yeah.
chemical based had like a big taboo in terms of skin bleaching, etc. So she didn't want to touch them, which I perfectly understood. But with the knowledge I had acquired, I understood that actually you can actually formulate something with all natural ingredients, because we had created energy drinks with all natural ingredients, whereas everyone else that came before were doing it with synthetic ingredients. So I was like, nah, it's possible. People don't do it because maybe it might cost more, and there's probably cost
Mm,
saving that they're trying to achieve, but it doesn't mean it's not possible, right? So I looked into it and literally formulated something that was like 100% natural base. She used it and it worked for her. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Well, there we go. It's worked for you. So, earning myself some brownie points. I'm like, okay, cool. So what are you saying now? um, so that was that, and then it was actually me trying to get her to maybe like start the idea. Actually, there might be something in this. If you struggle with this, then that means there might be a lot of people that also struggle with it. So like look into it, try and start it, because my focus was around what I was doing at the time. Um, so yeah, like throughout the years, I'll just be like, no, I got the formulation, try and start it. But obviously, like she had different interests and she wanted to pursue her own interest, which is totally fine. So literally fast forward into during COVID, actually, what I did was I saw someone online. So this is another brand online actually, and the lady, quite a young lady actually. I think she was like 21 or 22, whatever. I think it was like Moonet Cosmetics, and then she had posted that they made like $1 million in like 8 minutes, right, from their cosmetics brand. And then like so a little bit of context around that. The way they sell is like normally their stuff are sold out, and anything it comes back in stock because people want the product so much. Everyone like flies to it and go and buy it,
mm,
etc. So I saw that. I remember this very well. This was around May time during lockdown. I was just sat there thinking, and during lockdown as well, like everyone's at home being paid 80%, of their wages to sit at home doing nothing. I literally just remember just being on AliExpress. Oh, like what product can I buy to just flip online or something like that? I was literally just going through
mm,
ideas, and I saw this on Twitter. I'm like, hold on, I've got a skincare idea. Um, I'm sure we can make something out of here. So I literally saw them like, wait, someone's making £1 million a day, um, with their skincare idea. I think I got an idea that it can help people as well. Surely I can do something with this here. So literally, I literally
mm,
just, like went back through my notes. Thank God I did all my notes. Like normally I'll do all my notes on my phone. So like I had all my notes saved in, and it was backed up onto my iCloud. Throughout these years, I've
mm,
probably changed phones like twice, but iCloud saved me. I had all my formulations. I sort of like reformulated it, got all the safety approvals, basically just got everything done that we needed to get done. And by October, we were ready to launch essentially. So I literally remember sending like the first 20 parcels to friends and family to try it. They saw it and it worked amazingly well for them. I mean, like they tried it, it must have really well for them. Like the results came, but it was literally the same results that my wife was seeing. I was like, cool, like this thing works. Let's try and push it.
Mm,
So so that was the beginning. But again, like it's not necessarily any different to how I would approach any other idea I've tried, because I always believed in my ideas. I think, okay, cool, this idea could work. Let's try it. So we put it out, and a good friend of mine, you know her as well, Amma, also like did hair care products, right? And she had advertised with a platform, Shade Bar, and it worked really well for her. And we literally launched a week in. She did that, and we thought, oh, this worked well. Let's go and try it. So literally on our second week, we paid for them to like run the same ad for us, etc. And literally everything went through the roof. Like, so that's when I knew,
mm,
okay, cool, there's something different about this business. But then looking back, it wasn't necessarily there was something different about this business, because I genuinely believe if I had launched it a year later or a year earlier, the success we had would never have been the same, because it was to do with timing as well. So that's why I say the timing element is so important that you can't even predict, right? It's literally just market conditions that decide if it's going to
mm,
be in your favor or not. Because at the time we launched, everyone was on their phone, so it meant that the marketing tactics that we were using were working, because everyone was on Instagram. Everyone had disposable money because everyone was being paid to literally sit at home. You couldn't go out to spend your money because everyone was just doing online shopping, Amazon, all that stuff, etc. We were based online as well. Like we had the results to be able to show people. People are, in their mirrors looking at their faces all the time, looking at all their, the blemishes, etc. Sort of like, so, and these were sort of like the skin conditions that we were trying to solve. So for us, the timing that we launched the business, that worked very well for this particular business that we're
mm.
in. So because
So,
of that, so I think that we paid, I don't know, maybe like £200 to run an ad on Shade Bar. And for us, I knew that like people care about the results, right? They want to see
mm,
themselves in the results that like in our marketing. So we literally just sent them like, these are before and afters of, like of people that have used the product. This is what their skin looked like before, this is what they look like now. And they literally just posted that. And I think that day we had about 10K worth of sales, literally. Like my phone just like
wow.
couldn't stop pinging. This is going off. So from that day, I thought, okay, cool. Maybe this is a little bit different to everything else I've done before. There's nothing
So
I've done.
the
I
results
saw
now,
10K in sales in one day.
you
So I
know.
thought, okay, right. So this is it then. Like, let's just double down.
Mm,
So from then, so for the first 3 months, those are the only platforms that we use. So I call them like gossip pages or meme pages, right? And essentially, all it was is that it was like, let's find pages on Instagram that had a congregation of our target audience, right? Because our target audience was predominantly Black women, because we knew our products work for everyone. But sometimes when it comes to marketing as well, there's a saying that if someone is looking for a solution for a particular problem, and they've got a particular problem and they're looking for a solution, if your solution doesn't come on top of head, like at least like one of the top three options that comes on top of the head, you are too broad, basically.
mm,
And then if you're too broad, no one really remembers you, or no one really knows you, right? It's almost like you're trying to solve too many things and you don't really speak to any particular audience, because you think, oh, let me try and fix a problem for this one, this one, this one. When you're too broad, you don't really come top of head when someone's looking for a solution for their issue. And
I
when
think
it
you
when
need,
it comes,
I think you need to home on that, bro, because
yeah,
I think that's an issue that a lot of people have when it comes to starting their business.
yeah,
They believe that if they can cast their nets wide as to the amount of people that they serve,
yeah,
that
we'll bring in more
automatically
people.
equates to more people and more sales. So I
Yeah,
really want you to talk to that, about really being specific
yeah,
about your target audience and why that
yeah.
is important in business.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially like earlier on, like you don't have all the resources, right? Like you can't, like you don't have all the resources to be able to target every single one. I mean, yes, like it might seem like a good idea because there's what 7 billion people in the world. When you're starting out, you just need a group of like 10K people. Like 10,000 people will make you a business, right? You don't need
Mm.
7 billion people. So with that in mind, when you think about it, okay, cool. Like when you think, how are those say 10,000 people audiences gonna know that yes, like this is a business that they need to come and buy for? So the more you niche down, the more you can be specific, and the more you can talk to the exact person that this solution
Mm,
is for, right? So for example, with ours, for example, like if we were like, okay, cool, let's just try and target everyone, then our messaging had to be then diluted. And when it comes to skincare as well, although like with the science, we know that it was going to work for every single person because we've tested it, we know it, we know the science of skin and how it works. The consumer doesn't necessarily know that, right? So for you as a customer, you are only trying to see proof that this product will work for you, right? So if you came on
mm,
our page and you saw that, okay, cool, we've tried it on the white person, it's worked for them, and the black person, and then when it's diluted like that, you're not really sure. You start questioning, is this really for me or not? Is this going to work for my skin? Because my skin color is a little bit different. My skin tone is a little bit different. So what we did was, okay, cool. Like, let's just like we only just started. We are small. Like, we don't need every single one in the world, right? Maybe later on, if we want to, then we can, whatever. But right now, it's like, how can we speak to our audience in the most authentic way possible so that they can understand that this is for them, right? We created it for them.
mm,
Don't worry about anybody else, right? If you're a black woman and you've got blemishes, you've got hyperpigmentation, you've got eczema, we've created something that will work for you specifically, right?
mm,
And then with that as well, because we know our target audience, we know how to then speak to them. And then that's when copywriting comes in. Like, how do you write copy, or like how do you write like an ad that will then speak to your particular audience, because you know exactly who that person is. You know
mm,
what's gonna get them to then believe in you. You know what's gonna get them to then convert, right? If I'm writing like a
mm.
generic copy, then it doesn't really speak to anyone in particular.
Yeah,
So
and it's like one of those ads that you kind of see, and you're like, this is for me.
this is
Like it speaks
exactly right,
directly to my
100%.
problem.
Right.
I don't have to second guess,
Yes.
whether this product's
And
gonna work for me.
if it's not niche now, you can't do that, right? Then it just becomes too broad. Then it's almost like you have to broaden it out to cater to everyone else. But the more you broaden it out, the less you speak to anyone specifically. So then it was almost like no one really remembers you. People will just scroll past, oh, I saw this, whatever. But it's almost like with us, especially black women will remember us because of, in terms of like, for me, I just use the story of how the business started, right? And it resonated with a lot of women, like with a lot of black women, right?
Mm,
I was able to just speak to them directly in terms of like the struggles they go through, what I've seen with my wife, etc. And that's how I managed to be able to convey the message across to them. Um,
mm,
so yeah, so yeah, we literally just decided. So on the other side, we were like, a cool, like we're targeting specifically black women. Where can we find pages on Instagram that have the congregation of black women that we can advertise to, right? So
Because
that's
now,
when we come
now you know your niche. So now
exactly.
you know exactly where to find them to make yourself seen.
Exactly. So without that, then it's almost like who, like where do you go? Like who do you target? Then you were just bouncing around, be like a headless chicken, don't really know who to target. So we know our niche, we know exactly who our customers are. The the only other thing was let's go and find where they are, right? And then we know that, okay, cool, like our product works. We just need to tell them about it, and then hopefully some of them will come and buy. And that's just literally what we did in the first 3 months. So in our first 3 months, we literally just like scanned Instagram, like we just need pages that has a congregation of black women, and then we would just talk to them. Sometimes some of them will post us for free, some of them we have to pay a fee. Whatever it was still cheaper because we were getting like such a high return on marketing spend anyway. So our first 3 months, we didn't even run any Google or paid ads via Facebook or anything like that. We literally just like went directly to the pages and just like, listen, this is what we're doing. This is a content for you to post about us. We will pay you $100 if that's what you want, whatever. Just like push it out, and then our audience will see it, and then they'll come to our page. So literally, because of that, our first 3 months, I think we went from like 0 to like 100K in revenue in our first 3 months, which is like
In the
absolutely
first
crazy.
3 months,
Literally,
0 to 100. And this is during a time when a lot of people are having uncertainty about their, employment and their income.
yeah,
One thing that kind of, stands out to me in Yao is that I know you speak about market conditions and
mhm,
timing being right,
yeah,
but I think, what we can really highlight with the story so far is that success is when opportunity meets someone that's prepared.
100%, hundred
And I
percent,
think what I'm hearing is that you were prepared, because many
yeah,
people talk about luck. You were lucky that it was this time, you were lucky that
yeah,
this, but some people can be given a luck, but is
but
that
you don't know what
lack
to do.
of preparation, bro? That
Yeah,
lack of preparation, no knowing what to do, because you're like,
yeah,
you've seen this, lady make 1 million in 8 minutes.
yeah,
But the preparation came with the idea that you had where you'd written it down. You
Yeah.
had written down a formulation. You had, some before and after pictures.
Yeah.
So that spark of inspiration,
Hmm.
literally was able to use something that was in you,
Yeah.
for you to get to a point where you're now, going from 0 to 100, thousand in 3 months.
Yeah.
What I want to ask you, bro, is what kind of pressures and fears did you have to face that no one knew about? Because certain things happened in your business
Yeah.
that literally shook the foundations of your goals. So talk to me about that in terms of what some of the fears and pressures that you had to face that wasn't necessarily in the public eye.
Bro, a lot. Like literally like a lot, and then we would probably have to like do like a separate life for that. Like, all those trials and tribulations. But honestly, I mean, even with this business, like you're saying, like a lot of it, like I didn't even know everything that I was learning in the past 8 years trying to start a business, all the failures, like not necessarily just like having the career, like literally just like gone from, I don't know, like getting out of uni from 21 to 28, really haven't really done anything. Like, and I look around, I look at all my peers, and there's this pressure. It's like, what are you going to do? Like, I now have a family, right? 2 little kids, like how are we going to literally just get to the next stage? So that was always there. And then in the business, so when we started out, I think about 6 months in, we literally just had a lawsuit. Actually, that meant that we might have to shut the business down. So the issue around that was, so initially, so the business was named after my wife, which is Estelle, so it was called Okyere. Um, so when we started out, obviously, I looked online, I checked whether we can use the name, etc. I thought everything is green light, everything is all good. But so I knew about a nail varnish brand called Essie. I think now I can talk about it, but before I couldn't. Called Essie. So basically, they're a nail varnish brand. It's not skincare. It's totally different market, totally different demographics. I thought, you know what? It's different enough. We can do this, right? We can use the name. So they're called Essie. We called Essie Care. Plus, we have the name Care as well, so it's differentiated, and hopefully, no one should be able to mistake it. But anyway, we
Mhm.
start the business now. Fast forward 6 months, and we register a trademark, and then boom, because we registered a trademark, it triggered whatever monitors that they've got. Like, cool, this business is trying to register a trademark similar to your name. So essentially, we had like a cease and desist letter. That meant that is either we fight them in court or we stop trading, or maybe we try and change our name. And then at the time, because the business has been just growing so wild, and I think like 6 months in, I think we made like £1 million in the first 7 months, right? So like things were just growing like crazy. The people are finding out about us. The name Essicare was coming to stick. And I thought, like, how on earth are we gonna get another name that is literally gonna resonate with customers that the way they have? Although the business has only been in like we've only been trading for 7 months, 6 months at a time. It felt like we've been trading for 6 years because we had like so many followers, so many people buying from us, so many people talking about us online, and it was like, oh gosh, like this is probably the end of it. So like literally, the huge part of me felt like let's go and fight this. But obviously, that you have to hire lawyers, and then their advice was like, listen, you guys are only 6 months in, it's not worth it. Like you've got forever to go. Like if you can change
So
your
for
name,
those who don't know
change
what
it.
cease and desist is, what does that mean? You got a cease and desist. What is that letter essentially saying that you need to do?
Basically, stop trading. You can't run the business anymore.
Wow.
Literally, like shut it down. You can't use the name, etc. But I think like for us, we managed to negotiate, and they were like, okay, because essentially what they were saying was that it was a passing off case, and passing off meant that their argument was we were using their name SC to try and get customers. But how are we doing that when it's not even the same demographic? No one is searching SC and thinking I'm gonna buy skincare, right? They're searching SC and thinking I'm gonna buy nail varnish. We don't do nail varnish, and I don't think we're ever gonna do nail varnish anyway, right?
Mm.
So it was absurd, but obviously when you think about IP law or whatever, they're probably within the right to do it anyway, whatever it was. So it was like literally cease and desist. So we managed to negotiate like a name change, and they were like, cool, if you change your name, we're not gonna pursue this, we'll drop it, etc. So now I got to the stage where like, what on earth do we even do? Like, what do we even call this? I'm going through like hundreds of different ideas every single day. It's either like, and sometimes as well, like, it gets to the stage in the business where the name needs to rhyme, like it just needs to flow, and like, it needs to make sense. You just can't call it anything, right? Or like something that we would come up that we would like, we would check with our lawyer. She was like, no, you can't use this. Someone else has got something that's a little bit similar. You're gonna have the same issues down the line. So it was literally everything was rejection, rejection, rejection. You can't do this. Nah, this is not good enough. Until about, so we had a deadline. So I think 2 weeks to the deadline, it was when I came up with the name Everest though. I emailed
Wow.
my lawyer. I was just like, "Oh, cool. Can we use this?" She was like, "Yeah, green light." I was like, "Thank God." But even then, I wasn't even sure it was gonna come and stick like that because at the time, all you could think about was Care because that's everything.
Mm.
But I don't know. Thank God we came up with Everest still. Now, because obviously the business was named after my wife, but then she had to share with our daughter Ava, which she wasn't too, which she wasn't too pleased about because obviously now baby girl has come to steal mommy's shine. But hey, that worked out.
Wow. Well,
Um,
that's incredible. And
yeah,
bro, in terms of with your journey,
yeah.
especially, with, Ava Estelle, was there ever any moment where you felt like kind of walking away from this business?
Ah, bro, almost every day, man.
Serious.
But I mean, I say that to say that obviously I don't think I'm ever gonna walk away from this, but it's just the pressures and how hard it is. Like you might see it from the outside, like, okay, cool, like everything is smooth sailing, but bro, like the back end operations is absolutely crazy, right? And even to be able to do it, because you also need to think about it, like the business is not even 2 years old yet.
Mm,
Right. The business is not even 2 years old yet, and probably within the next couple of months, we've probably grossed about £10 million over the last year and 9 months or whatever it is, right? So it's almost like we're a new business. We can't get any financing because we're a new business. Like we're too young. The banks won't loan us any money. We are growing so fast, and although we're making a profit, because we're growing so fast, we need to keep spending a lot of money to be able to provide for our growth coming up, right? So
mm,
we don't have like 2 years worth of accounts. No one wants to look at you. Yeah, you're growing fast, but it's new. Is this gonna stay? But every month we're almost doubling
mm.
revenue,
Wow.
right? So it's
Wow.
almost like having to manage cash flow to be able to continue to. Because if you don't manage cash flow, you're like, okay, cool. Like we can decide to just coast around and
Yeah.
everything will be fine. It will be
Yeah.
easier, right? But really and truly, like, who's here to coast around? Really, like this is the
Mm,
opportunity. You have to grab your both hands. Like, I'm the kind of person I'm like, listen, we will find a way on a month to month basis, right? Okay, cool.
yeah.
Like we need to buy inventory 200k pound worth. We're gonna spend all the money in a bank account to do that. We'll figure out when we get there,
Mm,
right? So it's almost like every day you are literally just like now I see my job almost like a firefighter, really. So it's like half visionary, half firefighter. Every day is a new fire that's coming up that you're having to put out with customers trying to sue us for different reasons that absolutely makes no sense, and then you have to get lawyers involved to try and like brush it off. And so literally it's like every day there's a fire. I'm like, oh, again. But I think I thrive in that as well. Like if not for that, probably think it'll probably be too boring for it to be as exciting for me to be able to wake up every day like, okay, cool, let's go and crash it.
mm.
Um, so yeah, man, like the pressures in business, like you don't get into business to just coast around. And I think like us entrepreneurs anyway, I think we thrive off that pressure a little bit as well to be able to just be like, okay, cool,
Mm.
like there's something for me to get up and go and solve. Like that problem solving element is
Well,
quite important. Yeah.
I hear you, bro. There's a lot of people on a life, who would have stopped, at the first venture,
Yeah.
would have stopped, and just given up, and said that this is not for me.
Mm.
What would you say to that individual to encourage them, to keep the faith and keep
Yeah.
moving towards, they've gone failed after failed, and
Yeah.
their goals are looking further away. What would you say to that individual?
Like honestly, it's about being tenacious, right? Like if you look at my own journey, like we said earlier on, everything I was doing was a development of myself that I didn't even realize at the time when I was in the middle of it, right? And fast forward to when Ava launched, the reason why we managed to scale so fast was because I knew exactly what to do at much stages, right? So when it came to like one the formulation, I'd already done something similar, so I understood where to go to read about it, where to do my research, what the regulations were, right? And even like what I did to learn that wasn't even nothing related to skincare, but I learned that at the
Mm,
time anyway. By the time I even thought the business at the time was even not as successful that I had to leave. So in my head it was like a little bit of like a semi-failure, whatever. Okay, cool. Now I have to move on to something else. Then I learned how to run ads because I was working for another agency that all I was in was like running Facebook ads and all of that stuff, right? So when it got to the time to do it for Ava, I knew exactly what to do. I knew what buttons to press. It wasn't now
mm,
that I was gonna, try and hire someone in or try and get someone to. I literally just knew what to do to straight away just to get to it. When it came to creating a website, I did it all myself from ground up. I literally just put it together within 2 days. Like it was done. But if you single them out during the stages where I was learning all of these things, I felt like a failure anyway. I felt like, oh, like I tried to do this and it didn't work out, right? But if you're tenacious enough and also understand that this path of wanting to be an entrepreneur and this path of business, the majority of it is literally just you going through trials and errors and just developing yourself as a person. And that element of timing, when that timing comes in and you are fully prepared, that will be your time to fly, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the problem is you can never predict when that time is going to happen because it's not down to you
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, right? Obviously, sometimes you can engineer it, but sometimes it's not down to you, right? Right. That's the sad bit. But if this is really your passion, then that really shouldn't matter, really. Like
Mm-hmm.
you literally just stay as prepared as you can, be as tenacious, and just keep pushing through, and just know that like a journey like mine is also very, very possible for you if you remain prepared. You keep learning, just get through every opportunity you get, just throw everything you can at it. Learn as much as you can, because obviously there's one part trying to start multiple businesses and actually not learning anything from it, and actually obviously learning things from it, so that you're even more ready, more prepared the next time that you go again. So tenacity is a massive thing if this business thing is really, really, really for you.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like if it's not something that you're that passionate about and you want to make a quick, back here or there, it might not necessarily be the case that you'll be able to last.
Mm-hmm.
That timeline that is required to be able to be successful.
So what would you say to the individual who's like just the fear of failing, what would you say to them to help them to overcome that? Some people don't even get started because they're scared to fail.
Honestly, there's no for me. There's no failure in this, right? There's no such thing as failure in business. Only if you feel like you don't like learn something from it, really. Like even now as it is now, okay, cool. Like I'm so aggressive at it, like in everything we do, everything could come crashing down tomorrow. Okay, cool, fine. Like we pick ourselves up again and try again. How do I know the next thing I try is not going to be a £1 billion business, whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no really no such thing as failing when it comes to really business. It's really about just learning experiences, right? So I want people to like think about it as learning experiences more so. I tried something and I failed at it. If you're looking at it as something, okay, cool, I'm gonna go into this and learn as much as I can. And obviously, like if I'm fortunate enough and things align, it's gonna take off. Then that's fine. Like you're not really going into it to fail. Obviously, there's that part that everyone wants to make money as well. That's fine. Like I don't discount that, but I don't want people to look at it from the point of view, oh, I did this, it didn't work, so I failed, I've given up, really. Because that's not really what's about. Okay, cool, like it didn't work out the way you wanted it to, but what did you learn? How can you then apply that to the next thing? Because that's not the end of your journey, right? More time, your
Mm-hmm.
journey is only just starting out. How do you know that's not a path of you just gathering all the lessons that you need to gather in order for the right thing, when the right thing comes, to be able to now apply it to it and fly? Right. So you can't just
Mm-hmm.
assume that you failed now when you haven't even taken yourself through the journey to prepare yourself to be ready for when your time is actually up, you know.
No, that's absolutely incredible. One thing that I'm seeing, especially with your journey, like you said, is how you look at it. Some may
Yeah.
see it as an absolute failure, but the key to this journey in entrepreneurship is about perspective.
Yeah.
Because if you change the way you look at things,
Hmm.
the thing that you look at changes. You may have seen the past, attempts in business as things that didn't really go well.
Yeah.
And if you look at it like that, what's that going to, it's going to feed into your fear of not even wanting to move forward.
Yeah.
But it seems as if each and every time you're seeing it as, I'm looking at this as an opportunity for me to be able to grow, for
Yeah.
me to be able to prepare myself, for me to gain the skills that I need in order for me to be successful.
Hmm.
And I think that is powerful. If people have that small change of perspective,
Yeah.
and like you said, be passionate about it, the thing that you're doing.
Hmm.
Because passion is what's going to help you to push forward when things seem as if it's crashing down, when you're getting cease and desist letters, when all these things are happening and it's
Yeah.
stressful and you're
Yeah.
even trying to balance so many things,
Yeah.
you know, it's the passion for what it is that you're doing that is going to keep you going, and I think it's been absolutely evident, everything that you've been through, your journey, has prepared you for where you are today. And even your take on there's a problem, how can I solve it? There's
Yeah.
a problem, how can I solve it? So now when problems come into your business, your
The
first
only question
reaction
is how
isn't
can I solve
panic,
it?
it's how can
Yeah.
I solve it?
Yeah.
And the more problems you solve, that's the more your business, goes up. Bro, we're extremely proud of you. We're
Thank you.
proud of what you've done and what you continue to do. Bro, this is just 2 years in.
Crazy. We actually 2 years in October. Like literally, when you look back at it, like, yo, this is actually like beyond my. I mean, I say beyond my wildest dreams, but it's almost like this is what I've been preparing for all my life, really. So now we're here, we're
Mm.
literally just grabbing the opportunity with both hands and just going so hard at it. To the point where sometimes it's even madness. Like literally, like I'm literally just like on my desk, pretty much almost. So I'm awake, spending time with the family, or working. Like there's literally no in between.
And it's only 2 years in. Some may say it's been a 2 year journey, but this journey started at 16
Yeah, 100%.
when you were given a proposal,
Yeah.
of how you can flip,
I can flip
hair
some Ugg boots
straighteners
and some hair
and
straighteners.
Ugg boots. That's where the journey starts. So before we end this live, and you've shared so many nuggets,
Yeah.
I want you to give some last words of wisdom
Hmm.
to individuals that are watching this, individuals that are looking at themselves, they want to start a business. I want you to give some last words and words of wisdom and encouragement to them.
Like honestly, like your time is coming. Like I was saying, like don't look at it. Obviously, like we all start business to try and make money, right? That's the premise of wanting to start a business, unless you're just starting a charity. Even then, like you still have to find a way to make it work. That's fine, but like look at the journey, like I said, learning experience. Like don't always be so concerned about, okay, cool, this doesn't work, so like I must not be good enough. Like everything happens in the head first. Like it's almost like, what self-belief do you have in yourself? Okay, cool, like it didn't work out. What if it's gonna work out on the 10th time and you're only on number one? All right, cool, keep going. Like find something else, try again. Like there's something that it's a stumbling block. Find a way around it. Find a way to either push through it or jump above it. Right? Just in business, you have to be a problem solver, and you can't be shy of rolling up your sleeves and getting your hands dirty and learning the things that you have to learn to be able to keep going. So for me, it's more so just like just keep pushing, be tenacious, and just don't discount the element of timing, which obviously is probably the only element that you can't control yourself, right? And if you're prepared and your time is right, listen, nothing will be able to stop you.
Mm. If you're prepared and the timing is right, nothing will be able to stop you. Not even a
Nah.
cease letter from one of the biggest companies. If the people knew what company sent you that letter,
Bro.
And for me, how I saw it is that you're doing something right.
Yeah,
When a giant is intimidated by, one
this is
boy
it.
from South London just trying to make ends meet,
Yeah,
it means that you are doing something right. And it just says, I love what Jim Rohn says, and because when I look at your journey, it hasn't been easy. There's been a
no,
lot of challenges. And what Jim Rohn says is, don't wish it was easier.
yeah,
Wish you were better.
100%.
Don't wish it was easier, because throughout your journey, you didn't go for the easy option.
No,
You said, how can I improve myself on each and every challenge?
hmm
Whether it's joining a business and your business partner has different ideas, whether it's being stopped from doing business from
yeah,
Nando's,
yeah,
whatever these challenges were, you were saying to yourself, how can I be better? And that's what we want to say to those who are listening on this call, that everything happens for a reason, and look at it as preparation to where it is that we want to get to. So yeah, I just want to say again, massive congratulations. I
thank
saw
you.
the announcement a few months ago where you had your first £1 million. What was it? What time frame was it? A month, right?
Yeah, so
In a
so
month.
so 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 we did the first £1 million in a single month, basically.
In a month. In
Yeah,
a month.
yeah,
You cleared 1 million in a month. And that
yeah.
just goes to show, yeah, just everything that you've said. So again, massive congratulations to you. Appreciate your time. And
Thank you.
thank you for pouring out value for those who are listening. And yeah, bro, we'll catch up very soon.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate everyone being here as well. yeah, I mean, like for me, like even starting Ava wasn't was because of I saw something from somewhere else. So all I hope is I don't know someone will see my journey and think, you know what, this becomes
Mm.
like a seed for them to be able to start something for themselves as well. That's why I do what I do to be able to like inspire the next generation. To be able to do something for themselves as well. So yeah, I appreciate you having me on here, and then yeah, thank you to everyone, and all the best of luck.
No worries. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been It's an Inside Job with myself, Michael Agyei, and the CEO and founder of an eight-figure enterprise, Ava Estelle. Many of you may have fear of starting a business, or many of you may be frustrated, that things are not adding up right now. What we're saying to you is this: that your time is coming. If your business ain't growing, make sure that you position yourself to work on yourself. Don't allow fear to hold you back. And what we want to say is don't wish it was easier, wish it was better. And it could be you sharing your story of how you got to where it is you want to get to on this live. That being said, until we meet again, guys, take care and God bless. And remember that it's always been an inside job.
Thank you, Michael. Yes.
Thank you very much. Take care now.